What's up guys? In today's video, we're going to take a look at JDBC or Java Database Connectivity using MySQL, especially for the practicals which are going to happen in SPPU. Right, so first of all, I'm just in my VS Code right now. You can create a new Java project over here. If you're using Eclipse as an IDE, there's an option over there as well to create a new Java project. So find that option and do that. The steps for Eclipse and VS Code are pretty much the same. If you want, you can write it down somewhere. But basically, you need to start a new Java project. Right now, the Java project's extension has started. Right, so I'm selecting this current directory which I'm already in, and I'll say JDBC SQL. Right, so that's the name of my project. And now there's no need for this VS Code window, so I'll just close that one. So SRC already has an app.java over here. Okay, so I'll just run Java once to ensure that everything is correctly done. Okay, yeah, so it has loaded now, and you can see there's hello world written over here. I'll just close this now since this is not really important abhi ke liye. And I'll delete this. If you want, you can delete the app.java file as well. I'm going to delete it. Then you can go over here and add a new class. So in SRC, yeah, so I clicked on the SRC folder, the plus icon, and did a class. And I'm going to call this class as JDBC connectivity. So I have configured this and I've just opened this class right now. Then I'll do just the basic import java.util.scanner because we'll be using scanner for input output. Also, we'll be needing java.sql, java.sql.star. But the thing is, we don't have the SQL jar file in this system. So in the reference libraries, there should be an SQL file, but it's not there. So we'll have to go and download it. So yeah, the MySQL site only comes up. Now, if you're using Linux or any other flavor of Linux, any distribution of Linux, you can just select a particular one. But for Windows, you need to select the platform independent wala. And I'm going to download the zip file. So no thanks, just start my download. I'll just move this to the directory in which I want it to be. So I'm going to move it to the lib directory of the same Java project. So over here you can probably see in lib, the SQL connector has appeared. I'll extract these files for now. Alright, so the file has been extracted now. I'll go into the connector folder and see there's this jar over here. I'm going to cut this and move this backwards into the lib folder. Right now these two are not required, so I'll just delete it. So the jar file is the only thing that's required. Over here you can see jar file is available now. So what I'm going to do is either Java के project settings है, इधर से I'll do configure class path. So you have to go to your class path and libraries में add a library. So see over here, it automatically detected this library abhi ke liye. I'll remove this because it's in my lib folder na, so my VS Code is configured to automatically detect it. But I'll add the library. I'll go to lib and select the same thing again. So now this is configured, apply settings. So now we have like the basic setup done. The libraries and all have been imported. Now we can use java.sql without any errors. Also, JDBC में steps है, they are something like this. First you go and configure the driver manager. ठीक है, उसके बाद you ड्राइवर मैनेजर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन के बाद जो ड्राइवर है, ड्राइवर टू जावा एनवायरनमेंट, you do a connection to DB. This is what we are going to do. And उसके बाद connection के बाद we'll do statements and we'll also be doing like prepared statements and result set. This is the scope of this video. I'm going to define some variables, string query for our query. Then we need a URL, password and user as well. Right, these four fields we'll be needing. URL equals. So the URL is going to be, for this video I'm going to use localhost wala MySQL. So if you go over here and search for MySQL, this is the MySQL. I'm going to use this database. So over here I'm going to use the actor table. If you want to know what the actor table is, like a list of actors, it's a pretty big table. I've actually gotten this from the MySQL documentation on GitHub. It's like a sample database. We have four fields in actor, and our database is assignment 8 DBMS. So the way we will start our URL is first JDBC, because we are using Java database connectivity to connect to MySQL. Then I'll do a double slash over here and then go to the actual IP address where the server is located. So my server is located at localhost 3306. This is the port number by default which SQL assigns itself, the SQL server, and then enter the table name, database name. So for me it's assignment 8 DBMS, right? You can also put something like 127.0.0.1. Like that's the default localhost IP address for all machines, but I'm just going to keep it as localhost. Username, so my username is root and my password is also root. And if you don't want like your username, password and this URL, you can easily create a .env file. So you can do a .env over here, and you can mention all of these fields in this env file. But this is something production level stuff which I'll cover in a future video if possible. We need to invoke the driver class for JDBC. So I did class dot for name. The string is going to be the name of the package. So you don't even need to remember this. It's pretty easy. You just go to the reference libraries, MySQL connector, and now here you can see, I'll just expand this. We want JDBC, right? So see there's com.mysql.cj.jdbc. If we go in here, there's a whole list of classes available which you can invoke. Out of that, we want the driver class. So I'm going to do com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. Now it's giving us an unhandled exception type class not found. That's because there can be a possibility that this class doesn't exist in this particular SQL. So what you need to do is you need to enclose this in a try catch block. Once you move this in the try statement, the error goes away. So for the connection, we need a driver manager connection db equals a driver manager dot get connection. Now we need our URL, user and password. See over here, dp is our connection variable. What I'm going to do is I want the user to know whether we have successfully connected to the database or not. I want to print a message. So what I've done is I have declared this outside the try catch block and I've set it as null. What happens is this get connection returns an object to the db variable कि ठीक है भाई सब कुछ ओके कनेक्शन रिटर्न हो गया है and I'm giving you this object using which you can access the particular SQL database. These two things do is first we are checking that db is null or not null. So अगर null है that means that there's no connection made. db.isValid is going to check if this is a valid object. That means that database connection is open and is valid. This is the basics out of the way. Now what we need to do is we need to do the CRUD applications, right? I'm going to do a menu driven program inherently. So what we can do is now we've done like the basic this setup. I'll do int choice and we'll do sc.next int. So sc is for scanner input. I'll set up that. So scanner sc equals new scanner and we'll do system.in. So system.in, this is similar to the input IO stream in C++. System.in basically means that this scanner object is going to take input from the console. Then we'll do a switch case. So switch case, switch is ch. We'll do choices over here, right? And right, so and this is going to be exit, obviously. This just means that the program has exited normally without any error. So yeah, I mean that's pretty common in all computer languages. Right. So I've just set up like a basic switch case. Now we'll start with our first, which is display. So for display, what is going to happen is we'll first have a query, which is going to be star from our table, which is actor. That's our query, which we are going to fire using JDBC to the SQL server. So we'll just see this is what the expected output is. Now before we actually fire this query and get any meaningful output, we need to do two things. We first need to have a create statement and we need to have a result statement, right? So what the create statement is going to do is going to take this query and turn it into an SQL command. In the result statement, we are going to store the result of this query. That is, this entire table is going to be stored in this result statement. Right, so I'll declare this outside. I'll declare the result statement outside, the result set. So yeah, and obviously I can't declare the create statement outside because if there's no connection only to the database. Now do is result set equals C statement dot execute query. Done. So now result set has all of the values of select star from actor. To display all of these values, I'm going to do while result set dot next, which will first point at this record and it will go all the way down till 200. And 200 के आगे there's no record, right, which is existing in the table. So इसके बाद the loop will automatically exit. So ये 200 के बाद false हो जाएगा. I'm going to do print f, which is format. This is the formatable string and these are the arguments. So what happens is we can do result set dot. So we can get string, get int, get long from here. So our first one is an integer. So I'm going to do get int. Over here we are supposed to give the column index. The next one is a string. So get string, column index 1. Also, just a thing to be wary of. In this, the numbering doesn't start from 0, it starts from 1. You can just go into SQL and type description actor. So this is a timestamp, so Java will treat it as a string. If you're not sure na kaun sa hai, it's always safe to assume that your value is a string. 4 fields, so I'll create 4 columns. Right, so there's a special format function in Java where you can go percentage, dash, and 10. So now it will like leave 10 spaces for the first field. Our first field is just going to be the ID. So I'll leave a little less space. Also make sure there's an S over here after 5. Right, that is what is going to signal all of these columns to kind of be placed accordingly. Right, so I'll just run this program now to test it out. So I've connected to my table successfully. I can view all records. So I did get the records, but again, they are so many. I forgot to put in the \n. Right, let's do one again. Right, so now we can see the records are in proper order. That's the display thing out of the way. Then there is the create. So what is going to happen in create is you will have to take first of all the ID, the name, first and last name, and the timestamp. So these two values we don't really have to add, and I'm not even going to. If if you want to, then I'll show you how to add actor ID. But this is again default generated. The query for this will look kind of like this. First of all, it will be a prepared statement. So this is how the query is going to be written. These two fields are the values which you are going to accept. So first of all, again, there's like only two values to be inserted. So what we'll do is string first name and last name. Next, we'll have to do a next line, right? That's because when we'll do next now, so it doesn't consider enter symbol. Add next line over here so that the enter is also taken away and like the input buffer is clear. Then we'll do last name, which is again sc dot next and sc dot next line. So now we have the first name and the last name. We need a prepared statement in this case. Declare a prepared statement here. Prepared statement, prepared statement. Right, so we declared a prepared statement over there. Over here we do prepared statement dot set. For now we are setting the first name. So it's going to be a string. If we were setting the actor ID, then it would have to be an integer or a small int, unsigned. If it was a timestamp, then it would have to be a timestamp object. We'll do prepared statement set string index 1 because that is the first parameter, and it's going to be f name. So it's going to be prepared statement equals db dot prepared statement. Alright, so we are getting this error because we first need to do prepare statement equals db dot prepare statement with the query, and that's the statement done. Yeah. So what this function does is it like gives us a value. It returns the row count for SQL DML commands. So since insert is a DML command because we're manipulating the data, right? So this will give us like inserter. Right, so update करने के लिए we'll do. So this is how your query statement should look like, but this is how your query line should look like. This will update both the names, the first name as well as the last name, and we'll have to update the indexes accordingly now. So the first name is going to be f name, and 2 is going to be last name, and 3 is going to be the ID. So that now we'll take a look at how delete works, and after delete we'll just run the program in its entirety once again. Okay, so for delete, first of all, our query is going to be, also you don't need to write all of these strings in caps. I'm just doing it because it just looks a bit more distinguishable from the rest of the code. So over here, see, delete from actor where ID is the question mark. So we will accept the ID again. After we have accepted the ID, we can just simply go over here in prepared statement equals db dot prepare statement. We'll put the query over there and prepare statement And yeah, that's pretty much it. We can do execute update. So prepare statement dot execute update. We'll get like the row count from here. Row count equals, and we can just display that. Our program is now done. I'll just write the default block. So just write the default block of code that invalid input, right? Now we'll run this. So I'll just do this, viewing all records, right? So actually while testing, I added this Christian Bale one right now. We can create an entry. We'll say we added Killian Murphy, right? We can view the updated query over here, right? Then we can go again, update it. I will say 201 this time. I write some Mansfield Bale. Okay. Okay, so it's actor ID over here. That's why we are getting an error. It is supposed to be actor ID, actor underscore ID. According to the table, again, this will vary depending on the table which we are using. So I'm not too concerned about that. So I'll just run this again and we'll update an entry. We'll update 201 like we were doing Mansfield Bale, right? So the rows have been updated. Now we'll view the updated rows. So 201 Mansfield Bale, yes. And we'll delete an entry. So we'll go to 4. Again, the same error happened over here since we have mentioned ID as capital ID as opposed to actor ID. We are getting this error. Just run this again and that error will be dealt with. So delete an entry 202. So that has been deleted. Now we'll view the records. Right, this is functioning now. I'll delete the 201 entry as well, and that is working. We'll view it, and now we have only 200 entries, right? And 5 we can exit. I'd add like a do while loop to this. It just makes more sense for this to be in a do while loop, this whole switch statement. I think the do needs to come a little bit above where we are taking the input. Yeah, just after the CRUD applications comment equals sc.next int. So we'll ask the user if they want to continue or not. Also, if you want to extract a character, you can do char add 0, right? And then sc.next line to clear the buffer. This should be a character. Clearly, this is outside the scope, obviously. My bad, I forgot. Right, so I'll declare the character over here, char contd. There we go. Sorry, not botched that spelling. Right, so now we have a proper while loop. This also for exception handling, you can also write an SQL exception. So if there's some error with your SQL syntax or SQL commands, you can understand that separately. So that way, like we had the errors with delete and stuff, so it would be much easier to pinpoint the errors. But after this, I'll be releasing a video on MongoDB database connectivity. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe and bye bye. Peace.